Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about how to name angles in Euclidean geometry and how to name and identify the parts of those angles. So the first thing we need to do is identify what are the parts that make up an angle. Well, we start off with two rays. Here's one of them, GK. And GH. Those are the two rays that make up the sides of that angle. We also have a vertex. That vertex is like our pivot point around which we can open or close the angle. So that vertex is point G in this case, and it's very important to identify that vertex for when we name our angles. You can see we have a straight angle. Second, I put that red dot on the vertex in the middle of the angle. It's the same approach here. It's just that we have opposite rays. VX. So these are opposite rays because they come from the same center point. And VT. And they go opposite directions. They make a 180-degree angle. And our vertex, of course, is right in the middle there, point V. So that's how we're going to identify the parts of our angle, the two rays, and the vertex. And now we should probably worry about how can we name these angles? How can I tell the reader or the viewer what these angles are, what they look like by name? So we start off here. I have 3 points on this angle. And most of the time we are going to use 3 points to name an angle. But that vertex is going to be the most important point here. When I name my angle, I need to make sure that the vertex is in the middle. So it could be HGK, angle HGK. Now I could also switch up the other two letters, angle KGH. There's no reason I couldn't do that. As long as that vertex is right in the middle, that is a proper name for my angle. Now if your angle's all alone like this, there's no other angle attached to it, just two rays sharing a common vertex, I can name this angle angle G. Now if there were another ray, maybe a ray coming out this direction with a B on it, I couldn't name that angle G anymore because I'm not sure which one of those three angles is angle G. But if it's by itself, then I can name that angle G. And our last name I could give this, if you notice we have a number here, I could name this angle 1. If you want to use that, angle 1. So those are the 4 ways to name that angle. I'm going to scroll down. Why don't you identify the two sides of this angle, its vertex, and the names. Pause the video and then unpause to check your work. Okay, so the two sides of this angle are FC, that ray right there, and FL. Those are my two sides of the angle, the two rays that make up that angle. My vertex, the most important point on this angle, is F. Vertex at F. So if I'm going to name this, F had better be that middle letter. I could call this angle CFL or angle LFC. Or because it's by itself, I could even call this angle F. And then we have that number. I could call this angle 2. So any one of those names for the angle is just fine. But we have to make sure that we identify what are the two sides, what are the vertex, and is this angle by itself? Could I use angle F? Other than that, we're always going to use our two outside letters and our vertex right in the middle. Make sure you have that angle symbol, and you should be good to go. Let me know what questions you have, sending me an email or joining office hours, or I will see you in class.